Welcome back to Analytical Strategy. Today we're talking about the most recent episode of Survivor Season 40, Winners at War. It was one of the most crazy episodes in the history of the game. Tony is a grand master at Survivor. He may have potentially just had the most dominant episode of all time by an individual. Let's quickly just run through what he was able to achieve. Number 1, he found an idol. Number 2, he was able to get 3 different people in the game to give him fire tokens, which allowed him to nullify an advantage that was used against him and allowed him to compete in the challenge and keep his vote. 3, he won this immunity challenge that he competed in, which he shouldn't have been in the first place. 4, he flipped his vote to take out one of the most dominant players of the season and her idol in Sophie. And next week he's hiding up trees. I love it. Oh, it was absolutely insane viewing, and I can't wait to see how the rest of this season unfolds. In addition, there were other great strategic plays that were just completely overshadowed by Tony. I mean, Kim's next level read on Tony saying that he's playing Jeremy just shows why Kim is such a great player and one of the best players of all time. Michelle quickly being able to say that she has an advantage that is only valid on the edge. It's extremely quick thinking and hides her 50-50 coin. But we all know this episode was dominated by Tony and was dominated by this amazing winner in an amazing manner. There are a couple of additional moves that could have also taken place in tonight's episode, which would have made it even more insane. The first regards Michelle. So when she received the advantage off Tony to persuade Jeremy to give up a fire token for Tony, she could have acted as this was her own disadvantage to try and obtain fire tokens from people prior to the immunity challenge taking place. This is obviously extremely risky as the target would have been on her once it's all said and done. But she may have been able to gain some currency, which she currently has none of, whilst also having a likely immunity that needs to be used within the next couple of tribal councils. So if Michelle used that advantage that Tony gave her and said, hey, I need these fire tokens, maybe she could have obtained a couple whilst slightly throwing Tony under the bus. The second move that could have happened this episode is Tony, and him actually being able to obtain more fire tokens than he actually did. I wonder if he even tried to get any more than he required. As he was the middleman and was aligned with everyone in the game, he could have potentially obtained more fire tokens from other players in the game if he went to everyone individually. Again, it's a pretty risky play, which could have put the target more on him than he required. But after this move that he did tonight, it almost does the same thing. So he could have either then not participated in the immunity challenge and say he had, say, 6 to 10 fire tokens, or he participated and still have a couple left over, plus the ones that he won from the challenge. But putting these two far-fetched moves aside, I still think this is probably the most dominant episode by an individual I can think of in Survivor history. Do I think he made the best move of all time? Probably not. I don't even think it's Tony's best move of all time. I think convincing Wu in Cagayan to take him to the final 2 was his best move, but still, this episode as a whole was absolutely phenomenal gameplay and by far the best episode of the season. I mean, let's go through it again. 1, he found an idol, and also when he was finding that idol, he was able to lead an alliance member, Nick, to search in an area that he had already searched in, allowing him more time to find this idol. This is big ticks strategically and socially. 2, he was able to get 3 different people in Jeremy and Ben, who he promised to pay back, and Nick, who I think he didn't have to pay back, to give him fire tokens, which allowed him to compete in the challenge and keep his vote. 3, he won this immunity challenge that he competed in, which allowed him to pay back his debts, and then he flipped the vote to take out Sophie, a key player of her season, with her idol in a 4-3-2 split, and maintain a relationship with Jeremy, who he is clearly not willing to take to the end. And, not to mention, he did this against all people who have won the game before. It really shows he does have a great social game on top of his strategic game. He is a force and someone that needs to be watched through the remainder of the season. I think he may have just had the most confessionals ever in Survivor, and that alone just shows how much he controlled these 3 days. These are all winners out here, and obviously they have a high talent for the game and are great storytellers. He was able to control the whole episode, these whole 3 days, through masterful moves in the way only Tony can. He was my winner's pick prior to the season commencing, and I hope the dream comes true, as if he gets to the end, he should be a hot favourite for the prize. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, remember to subscribe, and I'll speak to you very soon. Cheers. Bye.